All right, cool guys. Welcome to another podcast for 40 and Fit. My name is John Baruch.
They were 45 and fit at this point.
It took forever. It's one of those podcasts where we take a deep dive into the male point of view on the verge of a midlife crisis. So, what's going on?
No, I'm just getting it closer to you.
Am I too far away?
A little bit.
All right, I don't want to mess up these wires here.
Oh, so much better.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're such a liar.
No, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
You're bordering on Mike.
Should it? Oh, never mind.
No.
All right, so my name is John Baruch, and I will be your tour guide for today. To my right, he's a local legend and one of the best in the industry. They call him Dave Kolari.
Well, I'm to your left.
Oh, shoot.
I was like, you're giving Andrew such an intro, right?
I mean, yeah, a lot of butter on that toast.
I was viewing the little camera part, and I was like, damn, I'm doing it the wrong way, aren't I? I just really thought about that. But it's okay, because it's all about that.
The Liz Dexia kicked in.
Right. To my other right, they just call him Mike Hoban. That's all it is. Hoban Nation. How you guys doing today?
We're excellent.
Yeah, today was kind of a slow start. That's cool. That's all it is. We got two special guests today. Two very, very special guests today. We have a buddy of mine, Will Wu, entrepreneur, local advocate in the political parties. And also we have Andrew. Andrew, I actually don't really know much. Just kind of throwing at us today, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
He was waiting at the front desk for a tour, so I asked him to come in.
That's what I figured, right? You want prices too? Let's go.
I did get those. I'm waiting on the folder.
Did you? We don't have folders. It's all digital now. You should know this.
So you're on the right track then.
Yeah, so don't worry. You'll get it. Just keep waiting for it. It'll come to you. Today we're gonna definitely go into some different subjects. And we really want to see your point of view of everything. You know, like I said, this podcast has always been about being very real and about men in their late 30s to their early 50s really going through certain things and questioning themselves, right? So I always want to know, like, how many other people have ever gone through these certain things. And, like, I've said this over and over again. This thing started for me 3 to 4 years ago where I guess, you know, Vinny hit it on the head when he said, did you feel like you're going through depression? And I really felt like I was questioning myself. And not knowing exactly where I was supposed to be going, you know, having 4 kids and also, you know, with being stuck in different parts and being stuck in the fitness industry. So I'll be honest with you, like, I'm very much typecasted, right? It's one of those hard things where it's hard for me to get out of this game just because it's all I'm known for, right? So I didn't know if I was going through depression, if I was failing in life, if I was in the wrong relationship, if I was doing anything like that. So just wondering, through you guys, do you feel, we'll start off with Andrew over here, have you felt that recently, or if anything like that, or do you believe that midlife crisis is real?
I don't know if I'm really one to speak to that, because now I'm 36 years old.
Oh, you're perfect.
Yeah.
You're about to go through it. Welcome.
I'm looking forward to it. I think...
yeah, really? Okay. That's why we're having a podcast. This is the result of that 6 years later. Go for it.
Well, I mean, you have 4 kids, right? So
2, 4. Listen, there's still extra bodies you got to pay for. There's more taxes. That's all it is.
But somehow we figure it out. I really have faith in the fact that we figure it out. You know, I think it's the right attitude, you know, our outlook. So I don't really know. I think there's a lot to learn with how people feel in terms of when they hit a certain age. But I can only speak from my observations. You know, a lot of the people I work with are, you know, in their 60s, you know, early 50s, 60s, they're planning their retirement. And they don't really speak to that time in their lives, in their 40s and 50s and maybe it's because I have the luxury of working with people that are successful at this point, being able to consider retirement. So I think for me, it's just trying to model them. It's trying to understand, how do they do it? Let me figure that out. And if they're giving me the gift of sharing that with me, then I'm with that, you know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely when you surround yourself with certain people that you definitely can push past that. In your speaking, I definitely feel like I think that's what's kept me going, right? But I still feel like there were certain parts that, I don't know if I want to say the regrets or anything like that, but maybe that is the right word, regret. You know, I don't know. Will, how about you?
You know, for me, I think when I think of midlife crisis, it's like, oh, that guy just bought a Porsche for the first time. It might be third hand, but he's got his Porsche now. So from that perspective, that was how I always defined midlife crisis. When you say, when you ask whether I felt that, I think for me, just being an entrepreneur, I've always had to figure out what my own mission statement was. So just keeping to that mission statement, which is food, fitness, community, and family. At least I have that compass, so I'm always, whenever I get lost, I come back to that. Let's make sure I serve that mission statement.
Oh, that's good.
So similar, like running your own business, you always want to have, these four walls here, John.
Yeah.
I don't know what your mission statement here is, but I think even I'm in the franchise business, even within that brand, I need to find my own mission statement for my franchise and figure out what all my team members, which direction we're all going in, because that's ultimately, I think, the key to success.
No, that's definitely helpful in understanding that it's like, again, you had goals, right? We literally looked for certain things, and this word does pop up here in this podcast a lot, is goals. I thought you were going to say something. We're driving towards something, and it's weird because, again, I say that I'm speaking for myself. I never speak for anybody else. I had goals. I don't know if I never actually achieved certain goals because I've always moved on to something different. I feel like I never finished anything, right? And it's weird for me. I don't know why, because I'm not successful. I'm unsuccessful is the term, right? I'm not an English major, but
first goal not accomplished.
See, now I'm just going through it all over again. This is that whole middle finger thing again. Like, it's triggering for me right now, especially when Dave and Mike are around me. This just happens. I go back to my biggest failures. It's great.
That's bad because I'm around you a lot.
Well, therefore, this is why we started the podcast, because I'm trying to get out of it.
Oh, okay.
This is for my benefit, guys.
So I was the catalyst.
Yeah. You were the last person that came into the picture.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, I love it.
Pushed me over the edge. But again, so the whole thing is, and I don't know if you guys have never been able to achieve a certain goal and regretted that part. That's a good way to put that part. Have you or no?
I think, just in your language, just in your choice of words.
Remind you, I'm not an English major, so
my
choice of words is very poor.
He uses Grammarly heavily.
You could throw in just a word yet. Throw in that word to anything relevant. I haven't done that yet. It's like if you do set goals, if you know what you're aiming at, then you could at least measure. A program I speak with Dave about a lot is it's called the Future Authoring. It's self-authoring program.
Mm-hmm. I think I mentioned that.
You did mention the last one, yeah. Yep.
It's an amazing program. It's and so it's actually created by one of my teachers, a guy named Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
No, he's
is there an actor?
Jordan Peterson, yeah.
Is there an actor?
Yeah,
he's an actor.
You're talking about the professor from Toronto.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Same guy.
Yeah. No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't let the non-English major mess with you.
It's also not a cinema major, clearly.
Nope.
So he has self-authoring, it's basically you write about your past, you write about your present, your faults and your virtues. It's a very intensive program. And then your future. So it was developed actually for his college students, and what they found was the kids that actually finished the program performed better than those that didn't, because they knew why they were there, and so they're not aimless at university. They're actually aiming at something. So when I completed my first bout at Future Authoring, it actually took a year. It took a year because it's intensive work. You end up doing the work while you're doing the work, and it's an ongoing thing. But I remember going back to complete it in February of last year, the last section, and I saw some of the goals. I'm like, holy shit, I accomplished these. That's awesome. That felt good. And now I get to set new ones. And still there are others that I'm working on. But I'm like, it's a really good tool to measure. And that's, it's a very cheap program. It's like $30. If you use code 40 and fit, you can get that too. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
Please don't try that, people.
No, but
Everyone's trying it right now.
All 12 of our listeners.
How do you spell it out?
Email cs@40andfit.com for any problems.
If anybody actually wants it and they reach out to your Gmail, we'll honor that. I think we'll get that going. I just,
so you can actually make that happen.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Because it will change your life. I believe that. It changed mine. So
cool. I don't know. So that's how you got. So why did you go on this journey? I'm just wondering. I'm just listening to you speak. I'm like, what made you go into all this stuff? It seems like you've gone through a lot, and clearly you're going through stuff. Not bad. They're just.
I don't know. I mean, I think I was the youngest of 4, and so I had that, growing up, and then getting into some trouble. I started late with certain things, got into some trouble early. Greatest gift of my life was that trouble. I won't go into those details, but I learned so much early on, and then I was able to correlate the lessons in that illegitimate business and then take that and ask the right questions to form a legitimate business. And that's really what it was. And then the deeper work came when I realized there were things about myself that I needed to confront. I could no longer hide from the shadow. I needed to look at it. And I actually, had to look in the mirror. How many times do people come into a gym and, they want to get to where they're going, whether they're getting married or, they have whatever they have a kid on the way. Hopefully men are doing those things. But, I think it's being able to face it and know where the hell you're going and face the darkness. Cause I think that's the greatest thing you could do. There's a lot to learn from that.
Did you go through that stuff, Will? Finding yourself?
Facing the darkness? I think I'm still trying to find myself.
Really? I think I am too. I'm totally with you on that. I was like, I feel like you're so far ahead of me. I'm like, man, what did I do?
But think about it, right? And this isn't to take anything away from Will, of course, because he's clearly doing a bunch of things right. But whatever success he has with the franchises and professionally in his career, who knows? Like, only he's the one to be like, I love this shit. He could just be doing it because he's fucking good at it. And be like, I want to make fucking homemade popsicles, but like I don't have the time to do that, right? It could be anything, doesn't matter. But that's why sometimes you have to separate like what someone's good at from what they really want to do.
See, that just kind of hit me hard because I'll be honest with you, I'm very good at managing.
And you probably fucking hate it.
I don't love it at all, but it's something that I'm just really good at. Like it just comes so naturally to me. I don't even know what I love anymore. That's the weird part of where I'm going with it in my own self internally. Like, I don't know where I want to go. I really don't. Like, podcasting was definitely not one place I wanted to go. Entrepreneurship, did I want to own my own business again? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I have absolutely no clue. And I'm still trying to find that part of myself. So that's why I ask you guys, the goals, the setting, did you actually reach those things? And after that, what do you do, right? And we spoke about that before on just what's next, And I still haven't even gotten to my first goal. I don't think I have. I'll be honest with you, because I don't know what's next, right? I can't even think about that part yet.
You don't know what's next.
Thanks.
I
don't know what's next.
We had like an hour conversation this morning at the gym, and sometimes not knowing what's next is like the most creative time. You know what I mean? Like when I came, when I wanted it, when you were like, "Oh, we're going to do this." Finally, I've been waiting since like October, and I still don't know what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But I'm
just starting it
because I get to see all the stuff. I get to see all the plays, the analytics, blah blah blah, and just the fact that you have people contacting you all the time who want to come in, and we like booked a couple of weeks in, and we got these two guys. Like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, but this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be, too. And it's not to take anything away from it if it was just the three of us, because that first episode was great.
Yeah.
But this gives us a real chance to just talk about ideas. Mm-hmm. You listening to what these guys have gone through and be like, oh, I can, if they did it, I can fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the ability to pivot and maybe not necessarily a goal, like a tangible thing, but the ability to like unlock your brain and just take it all in and start to kind of smell the blood in the water where you feel like going.
John, if I could add.
I'm listening and I'm taking it all again. I feel like this is my therapy moment right now. Go ahead, keep going.
You know the expression, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Right. And I think on that journey, you got to enjoy the path to what you're trying to find. Sometimes we're so focused on a goal in fitness, trying to get our bench press or our deadlift up to whatever number. But in reality, what are we enjoying along the way, right? All those little tips we're getting from everybody. Oh, crap, my form is totally off. All the coaches that have coached you along the way. So for me as an entrepreneur, I enjoy the challenge of starting new businesses, especially the very beginning, right? When you figure out what's this puzzle all about, right? All those little micro decisions along the way to get you on your way to maturing the business, right?
Yeah, no, it's weird. Like just in thinking about it as we sit here, I realize for myself, it's weird. I'm like really talking about myself a lot. My biggest thing, I've definitely tried this with Dave a lot, where always trying to connect businesses to business, trying to connect Dave with somebody else, and whatever we can do to develop something bigger. And I've always said, it's never been about money. I don't need to be a millionaire. I mean, I would love to be a millionaire, but I don't need to be a millionaire anymore. But
or any less.
but it's not about financials right now. Like I'm fine. I'm doing well now. I'm good. I'm bored, but I'm doing good, right? So it's always about making someone or something else bigger, better, or it's all. I think who was it? Gary Vee that said it. Like, stop trying to knock everyone else's buildings down. Just build.
Yeah, you don't build the biggest building by tearing other people's buildings down. Just build the biggest building.
Right, and I feel like that's kind of where the direction I'm going, and maybe I'm just looking for way too big of a building. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's kind of where this is where it's centering me right now, and trying to still understand what the next step is. Did I even achieve a goal? Maybe I did this time. I don't know.
Dave said something today on the way out, and it's funny because I feel like we'll often give each other like the same advice.
I'll probably
it was, and it just sort of came up for me where there is something actually happening right now, and it's up to us, how. Well, it's actually not up to us, and that could be a whole other. That'll be a 3-hour conversation. But
laptop's working now. It could be. It's fine.
But it's up to us to see how that manifests itself. I look at things like this, and you expressed something in a recent episode about maybe a misunderstanding with management, or with ownership. Where you're on the ground level, right?
Yep.
And then they're there, and there are things that they don't get necessarily that you would get if you're on the ground floor. But I think it's the one thing with Dave that's like so consistent. It's like you could speak to this too, but just the actual process of when people are so quick to say, "Oh, it failed. That's a failed product." It's like, well, no, it's not. I mean, Napoleon Hill wrote. You ever read Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich, yep.
Right. He interviewed 500 of the most successful people, come up with the formula for how they did it. It says, with every failure lies a seed of an equivalent success. And that's it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, shit, fucking fail.
Yeah.
Sound like an idiot, be vulnerable. This shit happens. And this shit is actually happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I can look around the room. We could build an empire we just need one more person, and we can build an empire right here. That's just the way I see it, too. But, yeah, no, I get it. I definitely get it. Were you going to say something, Will? I feel like...
No, I totally agree. I mean, losing my job back when I was in my late 20s, because I was in finance, they laid everyone off. That's when you really have time to reflect. I was overseas at the time, no family to rely on, no one to call. I was on my own, but I think during that time is when I grew the most, and I said to myself, shit, where do I want to be in 10 years, right? And I realized I want to own my own business, because I don't want anyone responsible for my livelihood when I'm 40. You know, I want to. So that's when I really started hunting for something that made sense. And you know, I ran into one franchise, John, that we were both a part of. And, you know, really, that was game changing for me. Yeah.
When did you start in the entrepreneur? Like, what year was that? What you were overseas and you just lost your job, and then you came back.
I had to make a decision whether to come back. I decided to come back. I got involved in. I was stocking shelves in the supermarket business because that was what my family had a history in, and literally making 20% of what I used to make. But I realized that was what I needed to be put through to learn. Right,
that humbling moment.
That humbling moment. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so understanding the grind. This is what I was saying before, that some people, like the owners and sometimes the out of touch owners or out of touch other directors above us, they're not the front line, right? I use that term very strict because they don't get to interact with people the way we do. Like we're literally getting the finger pointed at us, getting yelled at over the phone, blaming us for every little thing that's actually happening on the front when it's not even up to us, right? And that's the sad part of the whole thing. But I definitely like I 100% give all the credit to the front desk of every company, every type of business, because they are the first person to get yelled at. They're supposed to know everything. I think that's the hardest job. I believe the front desk should get paid the most because they get the most abuse. And I just started at the front desk. Started opening a gym 5 days a week, getting yelled at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? So that humbling moment of being on that ground floor is where I 100% believe that I've learned the most. Because now I know how to interact with a lot of people. I mean, as of late, not so much just because I've been on edge, but but back then I knew how to just de-escalate. I know how to de-escalate a lot of situations still, but it's still one of those things where it's still in the back of my head. And it's not like it's a low moment, but it's also like, how come I haven't progressed even further yet? Like, when am I going to be on that topic where I get to tell people or feel that way of the guys that are in Arizona for us, for everyone knows what I'm speaking about, right? I'm just like, how come I'm not there yet? And that's where I have been in the last couple of years, internally. Why am I not there yet, right? Maybe I'm not even supposed to be there. I just thought about it now. Thanks a lot. Just looking at your face, I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be there. Maybe that's not what I'm supposed to do.
Although it created the opportunity for this to happen, and you could argue there's purpose for that.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's I have a voice in a lot of things. I have influence in a lot of things because, I don't know why certain times I just start speaking and people start listening. I really don't have much to say, but I don't know. It's definitely not my voice. Mike has a way better voice than I do. So
Indeed.
See, but he doesn't say much, so apparently he's not as influential.
I'm like the silent Bob of the podcast.
It's definitely useful that way.
But think about it, right? You say you don't have much to say. Maybe to you you're boring.
Yes.
Right?
Pretty much.
Like when I listen to myself, I'm like, God, fuck, shut the fuck up. But this guy over here, Cliff, right? Like, assuming he's not watching funny nonsense on that iPad, he's really listening to what we're talking about. And he said it more than once that he's like, I love listening to you guys because it's experience, things that we're probably framing a lot of perspective for him that he may not have had.
Right.
And granted, he still has to go through some things and make mistakes, and he will, but there'll be different kinds of mistakes because he heard this portion of it, right? And just because you're not interesting to you doesn't mean that someone else isn't like 3 rungs down from you, who's probably even grasping at more straws, right?
And I mean, really, if you think about it, who's interesting to themselves?
Yeah.
Like, we live with ourselves every day.
Very cocky people.
The one voice we hear in our head every day is our own. Even cocky people. I mean, it's got to get, we talk the same to ourselves every day. Do you know what I mean? That voice is the same thing in your head every day. So, I mean, that's not going to be...
Yeah, you are your own worst enemy, right?
Yeah, but it's also never going to be a new perspective because it's your perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
You only gain new perspective when you start to talk to other people about theirs, and then you get to see it through their eyes.
Hence the podcast.
But can I speak to something about, because you said about Cliff and what he can learn. You said something really interesting that I think is like at the root of every entrepreneur. You sacrificed 20% of what you were earning, and at the time, can you speak about that? Like at the time, was it a sacrifice? Were you pissed? Because it seems like it was the greatest gift ever.
At the time, Andrew, great question. At the time, I was pissed. I was like, I deserve more than this. Look at me. Look at me. This is where I went to school, and you start battling your own.
For anybody who can't tell, he's wearing a Gucci jacket and Prada glasses, and the Rolex, the Rolex on his wrist is blinding.
Let's not talk about the watches, okay, Dave? We can't talk about watches right now. You're gonna wave yours around right now.
I can't. It's too heavy. And the watch too.
I was gonna say when I see Dave's watch, I go blind. I'm sorry. Go on.
Like Mike mentioned, I think it's that birdie in your head that you're fighting against every single day, and trying to shut that birdie up, right? So that and those are that's usually your own. It's your childhood, right? That's reminding you of things. For me, I lost my dad at a young age, so I had to grow up really quickly. Right? I was 13 when my dad passed. But relative to losing the job, coming back, I said to myself, I got to figure out my own way, right? I can't rely on anybody taking on that role for 20%. I knew I was going to make that back at some point, and I was hunting for the right opportunity. But you got to put yourself in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. You got to catch that break, and that break doesn't happen by accident, in my opinion. It's things like this podcast. Some random person you've met, John, on here that just gave you the inspiration to figure out where you want to take this, right?
No, that's definite. And again, it's always just talk.
I think a big part of it too, and especially in Will's case, you have to understand that everything's temporary, right? Like he's like, all right, I'm making nothing, but if he sat there and said, well, this is now my life, so let me just deal with it and be angry about it and just be angry. So and it's easy to do that.
So yeah, you said it right. I was in a stage, and I don't know if I'm still in it, where I'm sitting there going, I'm stuck, right? And I really firmly believe it's like a weird depression part where I'm in a circle. I'm just running around
Hamster
the
wheel.
circle, right? Hamster wheel, whatever. I'm stuck, and I'm like, all right, this is as far as I'm going to get. This is the best I got. This is all I'm going to be known for. This is all that I'm good for, right? And is it because lack of motivation? I don't know. Or is it because I'm just depressed? And that's the question. Like, I don't know if anyone else has been this low. I'm not even saying that I'm low, but for me, this is a low, right? And again, it started several years ago. I'm not nearly as bad because I do see the light at the end of the tunnel type of thing, right? But I do believe that I fall back into it a lot, where it's like, oh man, I'll just stick around here. I'll just do nothing. I'll just stay with this job. I'll just be this guy that just kick around it all the time. And that's the way I feel. Maybe not at the very moment. This is an inspirational conversation at this point, right? But there are times where I'm like, all right, I know I'm going to get somewhere, then I just stop, and all of a sudden I'm just like, damn, this is all I'm good for. This is all that it is, and it's not necessarily in a job, right? It's not necessarily in professional. It's also other things, relationships and stuff like that. I felt that different ways, So that's where I'm at, and that's why I pose that question to anyone else that's ever felt that way. If you have, hey man, I don't know how you got out of it. I feel like you've got some good tricks up your sleeve to get out of it. A couple magic tricks would be great, also. Throw a couple my way.
No, but again, I think it's all technique. When there's one of my teachers, a guy named Kendrick Cleveland. He talks about how most people, they live their lives waiting till they have it so they could do it and then they could be it. And so he taught me just to flip it, just be the person that does the things you want to have. And so when I made that decision, I mean, it's not easy. I'm 24 years old and I'm presenting to a company that owns 24 salons on Long Island, and the most money that I would be getting paid. He's like, yeah, I'll pay you that, but you got to come here every day. I was like, no, I'm not coming to Long Island, but I'll do that like I'm coming as a company. The CEO at the time, he became my mentor, and he actually passed away. A guy named Ron Nauf. He was a fixer. He was a CEO. He would go in and he would fix companies. He would make sure family businesses were having good Thanksgiving dinners. Like, he was that guy. And so he gave me homework after that meeting. It was a series of meetings with this salon chain. Guy had a great story, by the way, but a guy named Joseph Creedy. I don't know if you know Cactus Salon in Long Island. So he offered me the job. I turned it down. I was way in over my head, way too young. But the great lesson, because I put myself out there, but he became my mentor, and he really helped me along the way. And I saw basically that he came with me. He really helped me. So I think it's just facing it. You know, there's this voice that we have in our heads. I think we do have a remote to lower the volume on it if we want. There's techniques that we can learn. And I don't think it's any different than going to the gym or going, to hire a personal trainer, going to hire a nutritionist. I think there's skills. And what I saw was these trainers were helping other people, and it conflicted with my belief that you can't help. And again, this is a belief that I've sort of evolved a bit trying to learn, that you can't help other people until you help yourself. Like, you have to help yourself. So read, ask questions, be vulnerable. That's it. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
When I was at Track Your Fitness, just training, I was trying to promote the fact I was there and grow RPM, and neither was happening because I couldn't do like 100% of both, and I wasn't making I was struggling to pay my bills, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I thought that was the good move, going to the studio, and on paper it did, and in practice it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I remember just being like, I may have to close the kitchen because this isn't going, like, nothing was going the way I wanted it to go. And I'm like, what can I do differently? So I thought about taking out a loan, which was a terrible idea, but it was something I needed to think about regardless, because it was just a thing that was stressing me out. And then I think what I decided to do, I remember going to Bergen Community College. And you and I may have had this story before, and maybe with Andrew. Yeah. And I just walked in, and I went to the head of the exercise science department, and I was like, "Hey, so I run a nutrition company, and I've got this, that, and the other thing. Any chance you want to do like a guest speaker?" Like, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying, but I was like, "Can I just talk to people?" And the woman who ran it, she was like, "Yeah, sure." She talked to me for like 5 minutes. We got along very well, and she's like, "What do you want to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know." So I looked at the syllabus, and she said, "Well, I'm going to do supplements in like 2 weeks. You want to do that?" Okay, I'm in. So I came in. I was going to do like 30 minutes at a night class, and I did the whole like 2-hour class. And they were like, "When is this guy coming back?" And as we were talking, I did a second class there, and I never had an interest in being a teacher, and I still don't. But it was a lot of fun, and it got me in front of people, like people who wanted to hear what I had to say. So I knew what I was talking about, but it gave me this kind of confidence I'd never had being in front of a group of people, impressionable people. And right after that, I just went to go see my old boss, Juan, at the gym, just because I wanted to say hi, because I hadn't seen him. And I walk in, I say hi, and then we had a conversation about some stuff that was going on. And something got under my skin. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, why am I not back here? Like, what's the problem? I should fucking be back here. I should be running a nutrition program because this place fucking needs it. I should bring all my clients back, and you can kiss my ass about it. And he was like, I'm not really going to disagree with that, but you have to have that same conversation and that same tone with Jeff, the owner. And I did tone it down a little bit, but I ended up having that conversation with him, and he was like, yeah. So even though I wasn't happy with the way things were going, I knew everything was in my control, and it was just a matter of taking a few steps, no matter what it was. Like, I didn't get paid for Bergen, and I had to negotiate whatever Jeff was able to pay me, which wasn't what I wanted. But I was like, well, it's fine. I'm in the door, right? And he told me about Andrew, and I think we connected on a phone call or in person once. But he was busy doing what he was doing, and he still wasn't in the position that he's in now. Back last November, October of 2019. But I know that every misstep, every time I was like, this sucks, slowly got back into it. And it's like, I was bringing my training up and the nutrition business up, and Jeff was giving me a lot of creative not control, but just like creative input for what I was trying to do in Montvale. And then COVID hits. I don't give a shit, because I'm supposed to be doing a bunch of stuff with this guy.
Okay.
And that's why when I hear you talk, we need to find your Andrew, I think, as like a metaphor. Like, there's either a person or a thing that's either in your sphere at the moment or in one of our spheres that just needs to hit you a particular way. And I kind of think this is probably like 75% of that.
I can feel that.
Well, that's because I'm underneath the table.
That's cool.
And that's not the watch hand.
Yeah, it would be much heavier.
Thanks. We're going to move on to that one. But yeah, no, guys, I totally get it. Again, it's easier said than done just to move forward into it. You know, again, I do believe that I was meant to do something bigger, better, right? And my big thing is just connecting people with other people. I think that's actually one of the stronger things that I have. I did it for New York Sports Club. I was a recruiter for New York Sports Clubs. I used to go in and do the Personal Training Institute, all the NASM. I would actually recruit the trainers to work for New York Sports Club in the city. And I actually loved that part. It's the only thing I actually liked about it.
Why?
I just like talking to people. Just like you being in front of that classroom, that was cool to me. I was like, yeah, you're going to work for us because we're like the coolest company in the world. I was so wrong. It's not even funny. Wow. Regrets, guys. Regrets.
We're the coolest company that's not going to exist in another 12 years. Right? Don't even worry about it.
And they just owe people millions of dollars right now. It's cool. They'll sell off their membership to other companies. It's okay. But, yeah, no, I do feel like this is definitely one of those things where I feel stronger. This is the thing I look forward to in the week. It sucks. Look forward to a Friday night hanging out with you guys. It's like, what a great Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Dude, I get pumped by the time
I do.
On Monday.
But saying out loud, it just sounds weird, right? It's like, oh, we get to go hang out with the guys in a conference room at the gym.
Why don't you tell them about how we play Dungeons and Dragons afterwards?
I can't, because that's Cliff's thing.
Poor Cliff doesn't even have a microphone to defend
I know.
himself.
We didn't mic him up today. It's fine. But
it's because he spent his last couple dollars on the expansion pack.
Oh, that's outside.
But yeah, I do believe that this was meant for something. I do get that, but from time to time I fall back into it, right? And that's the whole. I do think that that's part of being an entrepreneur, because I don't want. Not that I don't want to work for someone or work with someone. I just want someone to at least see me at that same level, because I know I put in a lot more than most people would ever see, especially with the people that we work with directly now. Like, it's different, you know? God, how long have we been in this game? I've been in this industry 23 years now, since 1998. Like, it's been a long time, you know? And I think I put my dues in. I definitely think I put my dues in, and I am very critical of who I work with. I pick and choose my clients now. I've had several people that I just turn down because I just don't want to deal with them. You know?
John, you mentioned that you feel like you're going around in circles and circles.
Yep.
What I caught from all of that is, I was saying to myself, John, what is John really passionate about? What's his real interest? And what I caught from that, I think in your mind you're saying it's fitness, right? But in reality, I just heard you talking about it, and it's actually talking to that customer at the front desk. It's this podcast right now, right? It's networking.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's where your mind is somewhat in. It feels like it's a bit, and pardon me if I'm speaking out of turn.
There is no out of turn at this place.
Have
you heard these guys?
You got sort of a lock, and hopefully, maybe I'm trying to pick that lock, but that's what I'm hearing from you. You're a people person,
yeah.
And sometimes when you're in management, it's the same folks you're dealing with every department, day in and day out. And you want to be in front of the customer. You want to learn. You want to go outside of your box, outside of your comfort zone. When you first invited me on this podcast, I was like, first time doing a podcast. This is like a bit. Am I too old for this? And then you're like, no, it's 40 and fit. Don't worry.
Right,
which is brilliant, by the way. I tell Dave all the time. I love that it's the niche of it, or niche. I like niche.
I like niche better.
Right?
Sounds bougie.
Niche is if you're under 40. Once it's 40, because you're more cultured.
There's an apostrophe on the E now. That's all it is. But yeah, no, I definitely think you're right. I've always felt that way. That I'm just better convincing other people to do stuff with other people. I don't know why. Like I could sell everyone else under the sun. I could sell clients to other trainers easily. I'm very, very good at that stuff.
But it's finding. I don't mean to cut you off.
But you did. It's cool.
No, because I think that the fact that you recognize it as a skill, and it is, like it definitely is. My brother is one of the best at that. I owe a lot to my brother, financially, and shares of the company. If you're listening,
he owes all that.
I had a strategic partner in California, and we had very different views on how to approach business. And it took a little bit of time. I mean, it was great being able to say that Fill in the Brand was Newport Beach, California, and Englewood, New Jersey. I mean, from an appearance standpoint, when you thought that those things mattered, when I thought that those things mattered, it's like, oh, this is great. So I'd go, he'd sell me on clients, I'd sell him, and it was easy. It was just easy. But then I started to learn about his behaviors, outside of his family unit, things like that. And then just the things he would do in business that weren't aligned with me. So that was a good lesson for me at the age that I was, however old. But it's like, oh shit, so I just have to find, being a connector is one thing, but imagine a connector who knows like what he's doing and is sort of beginning with the end in mind. And I'm grateful for Dave for doing
Reverse
that.
engineering the situation. That's what I love
100%.
to do. Reverse engineering the situation. That's what I see it. What's the end game? Work your way backwards. That's how you figure out the solution to things. Break it down. It's very simple. Come on, guys.
Well, because some people want to try to build something brand new from the ground up instead of looking at, all right, well, this is what this thing is made up out of. How do we get there? Like, how can we just take this thing apart?
Right.
Piece by piece.
Yeah, I know people are very ambitious. But it's cool. Again, you learn your own way. And then that's definitely the way I see this stuff happening for me. As well as, again, there's big things happening. I do believe that. I mean, I talk out loud just because of my own experience, but I like to see what other people have to say about that, right? That's why we started this. But, yeah, so let's go. I want to go directly into the fitness industry as it is, because that's basically a big part of it. Now, 40 and Fit, focusing on the late 30s to early 50s, and I'll speak specifically of men looking terrible in their 40s, right? And it's one of those things, and I know that the three of us have gone back and forth around it.
I almost killed Cliff last week.
Why? What'd you do?
Because I was like, these guys look like fucking a bag of mashed up dicks.
I'll try and he wouldn't stop. Again, you could go all the way with this one, I will. Why do we feel that fathers, you're both fathers, right? Because this is the first time we've had other fathers on the podcast. Oh, well, no, Vinny was a father. No, Vinny's not a father.
What?
I just realized that. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah, no.
So this is the first time we've had other fathers.
Maybe in the biblical term, he's a father.
Yeah, no.
Honored.
Yeah, it's the first time, right? How do you feel when, I don't know if you guys, because I see my kids, their friends' dads, and they're our age, late 30s to even just in their 40s. I'm like, wow, like how did you let yourself go, and why aren't you doing anything about it? Like, Why are you okay with that, right? And I feel like the public just fails at that, which again comes to that whole midlife crisis type of thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're just really lazy. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that it's common? Do you guys feel that? Do you see the same thing that I do, or am I just being overly critical? Being a dad also, because remember, like your kids still see you as, my kids see me as Superman, which I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? But but then I look at their friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm Superman. Unfortunately,
no. But if we're always, so there's one rule that I like a lot of rules. I think we all do.
One rule,
only one rule. It's another Jordan Peterson from the first book, 12 Rules for Life. Is he an actor? Let's do that whole thing again, like verbatim.
He was in something with Brad Pitt, I think.
Let's go. Brad Pitt, man. Yeah, I think it's, so it's compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who others are today. So it's easy. One of my best friends, he lives maybe 10 minutes from me. I haven't seen him maybe 2 years when both of our boys were born. No, it's like, I'm not the best friend right now because I'm committed to being the best father, the best husband, the best.
You're still the best friend. Life is just different.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't worry about what they're thinking about. I think there's a lot of distraction. Dave and I you're about to throw a joke out there, and I really want to hear it.
No, I wasn't. I was about to say. I was actually about to say. There's plenty of times I've tried to get in touch with Andrew through text or call or whatever, and I know he's got a lot going on between whatever his business clients are doing. And I know he takes being a father and a husband really seriously, and I know he's got his time to do Andrew stuff, not everyone else's shit. And even though he may say he's not a good friend, to him maybe he's not, but he's able to articulate the things that are really important to him to everybody else. So I respect the fact that if I know whatever time of day it is on whatever it is, I'm like, well, this is what he's doing.
Right.
So, that it's fine. It's great that he feels that way, and he knows he can give more to the people he's friends with, but his priorities are different.
Right. No, I totally see that. Yeah,
John, you were saying which way the fitness industry is going, right? So all this class fitness that's going on, why are most of the clientele women? Right? I walk into Soul Cycle, I walk into Orange Theory, I walk into Cycle Bar. Why do women want to keep themselves together way more than men? Right? That's a question.
That's a really good question, actually.
I've asked myself. Why you said? Why do men fail and let it all crumble? Right?
Because some things like dad bod have become a thing. Whereas you've never heard mom bod, right? Like that's almost insulting. Or like, oh, what are you wearing, mom jeans? Like it's just this crazy. I don't even know if you can call it a double standard. I guess you can call it a double standard. I don't know where it comes from because these people get these ideas from all types of pop culture and society. It goes all over the place. Dad bods are cool. Dad bods are not. You don't have to look like Paige Hathaway. Or you know what I mean? Like it goes all over the place. So I guess it depends on either the male or the female in question. What do they align with? What do they resonate with? Like what do they think is most important to them in a physical sense or an interpersonal sense? You know what I mean?
Is that the same thing you were using?
Yeah. I think for me personally, making sure I look good and feel good is important because when I'm out there and I'm being an entrepreneur, presenting myself, you gotta show people you got energy, right? Mm-hmm. Positive energy. Being an entrepreneur, I think bringing that positive energy is what attracts similar people to you, right?
Right.
If you're always a Debbie Downer, in my mind, good things don't happen, right? You're going to attract negativity. So, but it's a good question. I still wonder in my head why. 70-80% of our clientele are women. I say, what? And then when I look from location to location, why does this town have some more men here than women as members?
Yeah.
Right? It's.
Does that bother you that you have a higher percentage of women, or is it just something you guys would like to figure out?
I think just from a business perspective, half the population is men, so we're just saying, hey, we're missing out on a huge opportunity here. But as a member, working out inside of these gyms, I'm just saying to myself, why am I the only guy in class? This is kind of awkward, but I don't mind it that much. So
it's a good ratio.
It's just, but I think, like you said, pop culture, it just, you don't necessarily, unless you're following Michael Hearn.
There's a name again.
Titan.
He's been brought back again.
I
think some of it too, like, because we can go all over the place. We can take it to how people perceive themselves in society, and some of the stuff that's portrayed from celebrities in Hollywood and media. And then there's the other thing that there's still a ton of misinformation out there. We bring it down to like the club level, the science level between trainers. There's still a lot of misinformation out there. Whoa, what was that?
Excuse yourself, Cliff.
Definitely, that was a truck.
It's just Route 17.
So there's still a whole bunch of females out there that are like, well, if I pick up a dumbbell, I'm going to look like the Hulk.
Well, so that's the female point of view. My question was on the male point of view. Like you said, right? Why is it the males won't do it?
Because they want instant results, and a lot of these men, I should say boys, is
whoa, all right, okay.
No, I actually mean this.
And I'm the smackdown down. Don't let them disrupt you.
No, because I don't mean it like
You meant to be.
I know who I'm speaking to specifically because I know the
just
attitude
called you all
of
pansies.
it. There are people that are living. No, like when you're a boy and then you're a man, and there are things that make you a man. When you adopt responsibility, when you find meaning in your life, when you know what the hell you're doing, you're not tempted by the instructor and you're going to go sleep with her because you have an opportunity. You feel good about yourself. You don't need somebody's attention to feel good. The problem today is our kids are growing up around this desire to get more attention, and they did a study, I don't even know the statistics, but more kids want fame as a success marker. And it's interesting, being on social media, building a business to help companies go that route, understand how to use it to leverage their business. I now no longer have to be on it, and so I'm not. And the last thing I posted on Instagram was a video I did. It was like a ring spot. My kid was going to run outside, and I had to actually reflect on that moment. I edited the video on a phone in my basement while my kids were watching TV. It's a cool video, but I remember thinking, oh, should I put this song or this song? I'm like, whoa, I got to get the fuck out of this. This is dangerous. Last thing I posted. I could still run a business that's predominantly, communications-driven business, but there's something serious happening, and the excuses that these boys are making, they're men, I don't mean it that way. They just have to burn that part of them off. Like, just figure it out, like set it up. And it can be easy. It can be easy. I brought up Doug O'Brien before. He wrote an ebook that you can get on his website. See, I'm doing another plug there.
We're not getting paid, guys.
But we could be.
So
Jordan Peterson,
the actor.
Is he an actor?
That was so perfect.
You gonna Google it? You looking for your phone?
Jamie.
Jamie. Joe Rogan podcast. Jamie. Sorry, that's a Rogan thing. Go ahead. But yeah, go ahead. Go.
Doug O'Brien.
He's got something called Ease into Mastery. And so it's an 18-page ebook, but the fundamentals are fucking beautiful, man. So it's an acronym for, it's EASE. So easy, acceptable, stretch, and extraordinary. Set those up in the very beginning. I did this myself. So what's easy? If you've never been to the gym, you've never dieted, whatever, what's easy? I'm going to put my running shoes on. That's easy. I could do that every day. I might not even run. I don't have to run. Easy is just putting them on. Acceptable. I'm going to put them on, and I'm going to go to the gym. I'm just going to walk through the doors, do nothing. That's acceptable. Stretch. I'm going to actually put them on, go to the gym. I'm going to get on the treadmill, and maybe I'll move a little bit. Extraordinary. I'm going to fucking run a mile on that treadmill. 2 weeks later, fucking putting your shoes on is nothing. Small little bites, and that's how we do it. And so I think it's overwhelming for people, and unfortunately, it's the long game, and we're trying to push packages and products on them that we're trying to do it because we have a bottom line and we have, right? But the long game and helping people, I think in the connection economy that we're in now, we actually have people that want to support us. So, it's a really, individually. And we're seeing that because people are operating out of their garages and parks. So it's just a different way of thinking. How do we help them see that it's going to take time, but regardless, the time's going to come. And so that's my whole.
That time is going to pass by either way, so you may as well do something productive with it. It's a good way to look at it.
I ran into that when we started. When Jeff wanted when he wanted what ended up being results. He wanted something that was like time. He wanted like a tangible product, and because I was just selling nutrition sessions, because I blatantly said in a meeting, I was like, well, I don't do like a 21-day bullshit program. Like, that's not what I'm about at all. And he's like, no, I get that, but like, can we do something? So I ended up coming up with something that was time-based, 6 weeks, but it was really just an arbitrary time marker just to appease him. And what the member gets is no different than what they get if they do anything else, but it's just structured differently. But anytime I sat with anybody to discuss with them what it would entail, I almost took their immediate goal, whatever it might have been, lose 10, lose 15, blah, 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 whatever it is. I'm like, all right, that's fine. That's way past 6 weeks down the road. I said, really what this 6-week thing is supposed to do is hold you accountable for some of the changes you need to make and get into the habit of getting into new habits. And that's what that was about. And he's right. There's too many people that are like, I want to get ready for my summer beach body in May. No, man, that's not going to happen. So I think some of it, like Andrew said, that a lot of people can't practice delayed gratification because everyone wants to feel happy now.
Right.
Like I'm not going to say the name, but there's a person at our gym who the minute he finishes taking the nice pictures to do this promo stuff, they take a picture of the screen that he just like put the stuff up on and post it immediately. Like, can't even wait for this guy to do the work he has to do and send her like a thing. It's like a fucking Dutch angle, weird shot of the screen. It drives me up the fucking wall.
Dutch angle? I don't even know what that is. Should I be offended by that? I'm not Dutch.
No. It's a movie term. If you ever see like
angle.
Yeah.
It's like if someone's ever looking up a search engine on a movie, it's like right on the screen, and it's like what am I looking at?
Oh, okay, I like that.
None of us knew that.
See?
There you go. My 1% is done for the day.
And you learned that Jordan Peterson may or may not be an actor.
There you go.
Is he an actor? Pretty sure he's an actor.
Somebody's got to Google this at this point.
I hope Jordan Peterson hears this podcast.
Oh, I hope so too.
And calls in and just rips us all apart.
He actually does have a documentary that was created around that time. That whole controversy. It's called The Rise of Jordan Peterson. I actually bought it with the intention to premiere it for other people. So maybe that's something that we'll do in the studio if people care. It's an hour and a half. He's fucking changed my life.
I would love to see a sequel to that.
I would show up for that.
Yeah.
What was it called?
The Rise of Jordan Peterson.
I would love to see a sequel to The Rise of Jordan Peterson back in the habit. Let's just direct
Or
two.
the failure.
Oh, shit. Are you down with G.O.D.?
I love that scene, dude.
Oh my God.
I keep that movie on every time. All right. And this is the point where Cliff just starts looking on his phone going, wow.
Okay, he's like Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson.
He's looking up Jordan Peterson.
He's like staying up late for
right?
jokes.
Jordan Peterson.
No, he's on. Oh, he just killed it. Cliff just killed it.
Jordan Peterson, cruise control.
Yeah.
There's some guy named Jordan Peterson out there who's going to become an actor. It's going to be great. He's in the making now. No, definitely. Again, the whole thing is, again, I've always questioned how we fall, right? How we fall, because it happened. I see it a lot, and you said it. You mentioned it. You something along the lines of just helping people, right? That's a big part of what I want to do is actually help those guys that have fallen, right? It's like, dude, like, keep up with your kid. Like, that's a sad thing. Like, keep up with why can't you run with your kid? Like, I find it, not even that you have to be sporty. Like, you don't have to be an athlete, right? But you have to at least look your age, right? Unless, I mean, I don't know how stressed you are to really have that much, to be that beat up. Whatever Dave called it before. It's one of those things where I find it, I don't want to say annoying, but I'm worried. I'm worried about the world. I'm worried about men because, again, Will, you said it also. Why is it that there's such a low percentage of men in classes? Classes are hard, dude. Orange Theory is not easy. All group classes. Everyone take a yoga class. It's not easy. That hurts. That's why I won't do it. I won't do a spin class because my legs hurt. It hurts. I'll do everything else in the gym. I'll push a sled. I don't care, right? But don't ask me to stretch. That hurts, So that's why it's alarming that these guys won't even do the basics. And how do we help those guys? How do we reach those guys? That's also like a marketing thing. Like, how do we reach the unreached? What's going on? What are we doing? We're supposed to be fitness professionals. We've been doing this over 20 years. Why haven't we still reached 50% of the world population? Like, we still haven't reached it. And what is it that's happening, right? And I'm just trying to prevent that. I don't know. Maybe it's my own mental problem.
I think some of it comes back to the same reason you're why you're picky with your clients, right? Because there's a certain portion of the population that's just they're not ready. They're not ready to work. They're not ready to hear the things you have to say. This, and I've said this to Andrew plenty of times. Like, I'm not interested in helping everybody. I'm just interested in helping the ones that want to be helped. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And we did the thing we did with Lauren, the energy levels. I forget which one.
Man.
I think about that every once. Yeah, thank you. The ELI. Yeah.
Energy Leadership Index. It measures the different levels. It's actually a really cool test. Another plug, you can go on HaneniCoaching.com.
Because he does do something like that.
What?
He does do, he takes your traits. He asks you about
the personality trait.
Yeah.
Another lecture series I would recommend. You could buy that at Jordan Peterson, JordanBPeterson.com/personality.
Check his IMDb page.
It's $150. They offer corporate pricing too. So
he was definitely on the movie with Brad Pitt. I remember now.
I really believe in these programs.
I've taken that.
I am not plugging it, but I guess I am indirectly.
And it was one of those things where there's 7 levels, and you operate in all of them at any one point in time, and it was either 4 or 5 that I remember I had a little bit of a higher score in, and it was the wanting to help other people. And as I was talking to Lauren, I was like, yeah, I buy that, but I'm only really interested in helping people who want to help themselves. Otherwise, I end up just banging my head against the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that
wasting time, right?
It's really great because I see it too. I see people who they come in to the gym. But to his point, maybe that's their maybe that's their easy at the moment. I don't really know. I mean, we can make excuses for them, or maybe that's what they're really doing. Just coming into the gym is the easy part of their journey right now. And then they have to figure out the rest.
But to answer, because I think you brought up the whole, how do you get them in there? So Orange Theory, I don't know what the ratio is, but I imagine it's at least
70-30.
It's a 70-30. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's not in a bad way, but so the types of men that actually go, from what I see, are different types of men. They're not older men who are pumping iron. They're group fitness is awesome. I lost a ton of weight in the beginning before I stopped doing group. Group fitness is awesome, but there's something different about training on the floor.
My answer all these years has always been just us men. We have our macho image that we have to protect, and I'm not going to be told. I don't need anyone telling me how to work out. I don't need an instructor telling me how to work out. I'm only willing to be coached by so and so gender. We battle those things every day, and that's how I've explained it. But I think, John, your podcast is the beginning of trying to get more and more people to listen to this and know that there are options for them, right?
Yeah, no, and to that note, as well as the easy, the first steps and so on and so forth. Do we feel that the industry has made it that much easier for failures? Because here's what just evolved in my head. We literally have just brought fitness to the front door, right? Yeah. YouTube, online training, all this other stuff. Where now people can just turn it on in front of their house, but do they have to put their shoes on? Right? Did they? Was it that? It's actually regressed if you think about it, right? Because now you don't have to leave your house to do anything positive. Now you just get to sit there and then you give yourself. Because I give myself excuses at the house all the time. Like, oh, the sofa is more fun than actually moving. Screw this stuff, right? And I think that's. Do we feel that? I just literally came up in my head. It was pretty awesome. Do we feel that that's the direction we're going? How do we feel about the direction? Because you do a lot of the online stuff for the gym. Are they successful? Is it working? Is it bringing in more members? Did the online stuff at Orange Theory? I remember one time Orange Theory when we had, it was Kai, Eli, and I think Jonathan that was coaching, and they had China on their broadcast. I was like, well, that was like only one class, but I don't know what happened to all the rest of it. I feel like, and that's what the industry says is the newest way for fitness to evolve right now. That's the first thing that people should be doing. Instructors should be online. That's what they say. Now, I've been questioned over and over again by owners if we should be doing that. They literally cut us off. I'll say it on my podcast. We're in the building. I don't care. We've said it over and over again in this podcast. They know who they are. They obviously don't listen because they're in Arizona, and they're like 86. But do we feel that's helping? Is it useful? What should we do? You just keep shaking your head.
Well, if you give me a chance, bro. I mean, come on. If you look at the fitness industry, the gyms and everything, what they've really been predicated on is people paying and not using.
Right.
So gyms, everyone said, what's the greatest member? The one that pays every month and never shows up. Yeah. Because there's no wear and tear on your equipment.
Planet Fitness.
Yeah, doesn't take up any space in your gym, and you're still getting that check every month. I think the fitness industry is very good at building better mousetraps. Because, I mean, how many piece of crap things have we bought where it's supposed to be, this is the next, like the ab roller, the ab isolator, a lot of ab stuff, especially for all of us that don't like to diet.
Has anybody seen the Tug Toner? Forget it.
Are you talking about the ads you find on Pornhub again?
No, it was on like Saturday.
No, Jordan Peterson was advertising.
Okay. Well, so it was his acting class then. Cool.
Yeah, that's what it was.
7-minute ads.
Exactly. But that's what I think the fitness industry is very good at. It's very good at providing an answer, but maybe not one you're going to follow. Like, here it is, you just got to do this, but if you're going to do it, it's on you. You know what I mean? And I think that's the direction the fitness industry tends to go. It's like, here's your solution. It's right over here.
Right. Just do it.
Are you going to get off the couch and do it?
Right.
And now it's, like you said, it's even easier.
Yeah.
That's the way I view it right now.
For me, I think relative to the fitness industry, the human touch is so important. Mm-hmm. And I think 100%. That you just got a lot of shit on the wall right now with all this online stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just confusing people. And I think my personal opinion is I think people want to be coached. You can only do it so well on a 1-inch by 1-inch box on a screen, right? That's my personal opinion. But that being said, Peloton does it very well. I think what they're doing isn't necessarily the personal touch. They have their coaches and they have 10,000 people in class on the treadmill class. They have a few hundred people in class. So I think if you're going to be online, you have to have a very unique positioning, unique strategy that's different from the others, right? Just doing demos in YouTube, it's not. It's got to be very targeted.
It's kind of what we touched on last time about building community, which is basically what he. Yeah.
It's funny because when I started out in my career, I was like 19 when I took this. I always had businesses, I'm half Jewish, so I had parents that invested in them. So
half Jewish part.
It's weird to say half Jew. No,
that's like,
I'm not really Jewish.
It's a lowercase J.
Oh yeah.
Every board is just always break a day. There's no line here. Just erase the Sharpie.
We had we had in the very beginning, early 20s, because I attended bar, so I had a lot of people coming in, and regular doctors, electricians, carpenters, deli owners, just regular people, and they just didn't understand how any of this worked. Those were the people that could pay. So I worked with them. But I was always intrigued by the individuals that I would call personal brands at the time. Dave, just fast forward to now, I've worked with a number of personal brands over the years, and I've given a lot of resources. I won't plug their names now. Many of them you might have heard. Amy Winehouse, I'm kidding. That'd be crazy.
Is that an actress?
She was in a movie with Jordan Peterson. No. So everyone will know his name. Jordan. So, Michaela, listen, do you post this video? Let me just talk to Michaela. Let your dad see this. Okay. That's his daughter. So personal brands couldn't pay what businesses could pay. So what I did was I did that. I worked with personal brands that knew what they were doing. We are now living in a time where traditional ownership, they have the house, okay? And they are now having to accept that individual brands are doing the work. So I think you had said something about they weren't wearing shirts with logos and things like that.
Yeah.
When you don't force a standard, you get to observe. I've really, and Dave could attest to this, because I've simplified and I put myself in a position that I was removed from. We drove production costs down to a level that it wouldn't be possible without this, and rebuilt this business. So when I say production house, it's literally what we're doing. We're bringing these resources to a business to help personal brands thrive. The challenge with that early on was you had ownership saying, I don't want to build someone else's brand, I want to build our brand. But if you take care of your people and you're honest and open with them and they know what the fuck they're doing, then you're all in it. And I trust that that's where we're headed. I trust that. And so I have high hopes for it. And I think because of this business we're in and the angle that my company's taken, I think we can really create jobs. I mean, this guy right here doesn't even realize, but he could be getting paid. And maybe you are, I don't know. But
as he pulls his inside out pockets.
It's like $5 bill. I didn't see one of them.
No, that was a moth. Sorry, Cliff.
No, I just
a moth that looks like Abe Lincoln. Crazy.
When a company cares about its employees, and I know that the gym does, and the gym, it's because it's been brought to their attention, and so that's what matters. It's if you care about your employees, because we're giving our instructors a professional photo shoot every week, and I'll literally hand it to them. I want them to feel good about it, right? We've developed the system where when they don't feel good about it, there's a way of that whole thing happening, but it gets handled, and we get them to be open and we get them talking. How we're using virtual now is certainly not the end. It's sort of the process, and it's no different than how this table started tonight. This thing started a certain way for a reason. I'm grateful for that, by the way. So thank you. It wasn't a mistake. It was supposed to happen that way, and it's supposed to happen that way because now you have improvements that you're going to be able to measure. Because 35 days time or 100 days time, when you still have episodes missing, but you've done 100 episodes, you're going to be like, holy shit! Look how much we've learned. Because this guy, man, holy shit!
You have to care about the product too. Like to Will's point, like we'll look at Peloton, right? You have to be able to create value in what you're putting out, because you can easily get a cardio program, a weight training program, someone jumping around on a Zoom and say, "Oh, my class for the day." But Peloton, it's kind of about the experience, that experience of being one of however many people are in the video class or how many people you think are taking it at the same time. So it's like the experience. It's probably a great workout too because it's spin. Like how could spin not be? But people see value in that. Even if the class didn't produce the results they think they're going for, it's still an experience that they place value in. So what Andrew has always tried to do is just continue to make the product better so people can see the value in it. And then once we had people believing in the value of it, it's like, okay, how do we make the product better from like an effective standpoint? So I think that as we continue to go along, the companies and content creators that care about giving value and giving something that's effective, well, those are the people that will go further than just being able to do an online thing.
Okay. So with that being said, the question was, the content that's created, let's just go back and forth with the gym's content that you've developed as well as Peloton, right?
Okay.
You guys have developed, sure, it still wasn't me, but you, okay. Peloton is obviously a $2 billion company at this point, probably even more, right? Has the content that you've done, because it seems like it's pretty cool, right? Has it resulted in more memberships for the gym?
All right, hold on. I'm sorry. We got to zoom the fuck out on this, okay? I have a Peloton. Are you done asking? Because it's not about that. And yes, today it's about that because there are certain people that make places like this possible, and they understand insurance and they understand all of the things that most people don't want to think about. So I get that we want to talk about that today, but that's why it takes the risk of just buying your own uniforms. If they're not going to buy it, buy it. They're not going to buy handles, buy it. They're not going to buy a mic, buy it. It's a challenge and it's a chance to grow. That's how you develop entrepreneur. Like that's how it's in all of us. We're just afraid. Some of us are afraid, and we need to start cultivating places where people like that speak about things like this. And they come to like get inspired and do those things because it's not happening on the phone. It only goes so far. What Peloton does though is they sell you the hardware. It's razor blade marketing, right? You ever hear that term?
No.
That's right. Yeah. You buy the or a printer. Buy a printer. You keep buying the ink. But Peloton did something different because they got me to buy it, and it's a business expense in case the IRS is asking. But it is. I mean, it legitimately is. But no, so if you freeze a membership, now you buy the thing, $3,000, you buy it, you have it, you own it. A lot of times you're just looking at it. I can't use it at the time I wake up because my kids might get up. It's 4 a.m. I want to use it, but I'd rather go to the gym. I didn't get it for me. So there are days where I'm like, fuck, I just want to and my wife's really pregnant right now, so it is just sitting there. But I'm thinking what they did is they created the thing. And if you cancel that membership, what you're saying is, I don't believe in her anymore. I'm giving up on my wife. I don't believe. And husbands, if they're smart, don't want to do that. My father-in-law did that years ago by throwing away the Nordic track. My mother-in-law is still talking about it. And so Peloton capitalized on that. And they will have my subscription. My wife's going to use it. I want to use it. It's research, all that stuff. But they did that. And that's the game they're playing. So sometimes we have to zoom out and be like, can it convert members? Yeah, and it is for us. But and while it's certainly about that, because that's our current goal, we have a certain date that we're all a part of and we know what we're heading at. But it's not about, hey, how many people are online versus how many people are actually coming in, and is it worth it? You could certainly justify it's costing us X amount of dollars a month. How's that contributing to the bottom line? But it takes somebody to come in, and typically somebody like me comes in and explains all that stuff, but I can't be the one to do that for every gym. But I think that there are a lot of people like us that can explain that, because these guys are real people. They're far removed from working out here, but Jeff isn't, and that doesn't mean those guys can't be heard. A lot of these guys that have a lot of money that are going back to basics, they're at the front desk. They're training again. They're picking up a broom. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think with Peloton, I think their next steps is they're going to go similar the way of Amazon. Amazon's opening up their own stores. I think I could see them opening up Peloton studios and bringing people in, having them meet face to face, They've seen how fitness has evolved. They've tested boot camp workout, treadmill workout, stretch workout. Let's do that in 4 walls and start. And then their coaches are already super well known with 10,000, 50,000 followers.
You could even take that a step further and really cut your overhead, where you just open up the class
and then just stream it.
And you just stream it. You don't even pay. You're not even paying an instructor. You're just like, the subscription is going to the building and having that class, having the community feel with the online experience.
There it is.
So
how do we start that first?
So we're saying, how many members did you get? No, I
but to your point,
is a huge thing. I get that part.
Like, we didn't talk about how many members we got or didn't get.
Right.
Like, look where it took us. Right?
No. So it's definitely a talking moment, which I'm trying to understand. I understand what we did wrong here. It was garbage. Like, we just didn't do it right? We should have worn the same shirts. I get it. I should have done that stuff. Branding moment. I get that part. And I said we should have done it better. Scratch that. We're out. We're already out that game at this point, the way I see it, right? I'm not even going to touch it because they don't want to touch it. They being the people above me, right? I don't care. I'm just saying the industry in itself, right? We have completely evolved to becoming just looking at our phones, right? Like, I feel that is a regression, right? And we're contributing to that by making more videos, right? Or do we try and get, again, I'm very big, you said yourself, you're big on the touch, personal touch. Getting people through the door is, I kind of feel, and I could be completely wrong, maybe it's just my opinion, I think it's a stronger approach, right? I think that the personal touch is where you'll actually see more results. Why do we still keep training them? Like, why are the 4 of us in this room, we're still trainers, right? We still have active clients every week. I just trained twice this morning, right? Not as much as you guys, but I still train twice this morning. But I see better results. I can jump on a Zoom. It's pretty easy, right? I just have to sit there and market this whole thing, which I'm just not willing to do, to be honest with you. But I think the personal touch it makes more sense because it's that individual attention is very different, right? And being in the same room, feeling the energy, it's very different. That's why Orange, in my opinion, that's the one thing I miss about Orange 30 is that energy. That we spoke about it, the community. You're building that community is what really developed the business. The price point means nothing if you get 800 more friends. Well, you buy your friends for $169 a month, but it's
and it's a bargain at that.
It is, right? Because it's like 2 cents a friend. But if you want to go like Dogecoin stuff like that, but I'm just saying that is it Doge or Doge? I heard it was Doge. It's Doge, right? Doge, dog coin. Anyways, but that's just what I mean. It's like I think that we've regressed in it, right? I think the personal touch means a lot more. Look at Mike here. Like Mike trains the most out of all of us. He's got almost 30 clients, right? Why is he still going strong? Mike, why haven't you gone online? You could be making so much more money.
I would be sacrificing what I do.
Can I just but here's the biggest opportunity, and I fucking love this shit because people are thinking that you got to do a class. You saw Jeff today. I don't want to. That's a whole different thing. You are not going there to do. You don't have to do that. Like you could do it however you want. The point is, through avenues like this, there are going to be people that gravitate to somebody here or Jordan Peterson, where they go to self-authoring and they buy that.
They watch the movie. It's cool.
So, God, he really plugs that. Who is this guy? They're gonna fucking email. The advertising on this shit is ridiculous. WNBC.
Oh, really? You guys aren't even subliminal with your advertising. It's just right out there.
It's just right there. No, but the point is, like, it will be a facilitator of, it will build your business. There's a reason, like, why do you think people train with you? Why do you think they come here to train with you?
What do I think? A lot of it has to do with word of mouth, but I think people who kind of get the gist of me, they realize this is like what I'm about. This is what I do.
I'll say it, one word: results. You've shown results.
Yeah.
You literally have the reputation to show results, right? And they're willing to go out, put their shoes on, walk out the door, go to the gym, jump on. No one jumps on a treadmill. Actually, your clients don't jump on treadmill.
No.
They do they do other things, but they'll lift weights. They'll do that because they know they're going to see the results, right? Because they'll actually go in, see Mike, get yelled at by Mike, get results, walk away, right? And they keep coming back. They keep coming. Dude, the gym, they just keep coming back, right? It's so easy to turn off a video. He's yelling at me again. Click. Shut up. Right? So that's why I'm just like, we made it that much easier, but we're monetizing off it, right? Which, kind of way, it's kind of wrong. It's kind of messed up.
That's what I mean about the better mousetraps.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Better mousetrap makes so much more sense. I didn't get that. But again, we said it, bottom line.
Yeah.
There's money involved, right? Like, how do we keep the doors open?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'm hearing, John, results and community. So when you go online, have you created a community? And are you guaranteed, like your Peloton, for example, how would you rank on a scale of 1 to 10 the results that you've gotten?
Yeah.
Non-existent, no score.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that
So was it a good investment?
Yeah, my wife wanted it. It's like I was reluctant, but yeah, like that's why people have it. I don't think it's men saying, and it's not a sexist, but I don't think it's like men saying, "I need that in my living room." Like it became this thing, like, and they did a good job.
And like you were even saying regarding the whole men thing, men don't do classes. So difference between us getting a Peloton or just getting a bike. I could spend $3,000 on a Peloton, or I could spend $200 on a bike. I can park my ass on a pedal. You know what I mean? We're men are kind of wired a little differently that way. So, like the class structure, the more higher end bike doesn't mean as much to us.
But imagine if you jumped on a bike, right? Now you have this platform. This platform is probably not funded by ownership, right? Mm-hmm. There are people that enjoy doing things like that. So then those conversations start happening, and then a few months from now, that starts to happen. But the point is, you have a platform right now. If you say you're going to go do a class, you might be the reason someone goes and does a class. And that's how it happened for me as a member at the gym, because I entered in through Mina's class. So she does Wednesdays at 6 a.m. I love her early, so I'm like, this class is awesome. It looked tough. And then started doing a trainer's class. He built his business by being in the class because he saw the end, and then pretty soon he was doing 70 hours a week. So this is how it works, and unfortunately, you can't just put all these efforts in everybody, right? Unless you're just going to work for free forever and just be so generous, and not everybody is willing to play the long game, and I think that's what it is. It's like, I know that Dave and I are playing the long game together, and this opportunity is fucking great, and I'm just like, keep doing it, because you guys have a niche.
Niche.
He's an actor.
There's no apostrophe.
So, I think I said it before, if you create enough value in your online product, that could easily drive people to be like, you know what, this online thing, it's pretty good. I want to see what they have when I'm actually there.
I believe it. Peloton's done it. Like I'm definitely not knocking it. I'm just saying it takes not to do it.
It does, but I think
because if we literally took Peloton, their fame and everything, and put it in a gym, like you said, they're going to go to 4 walls. That in itself is just going to skyrocket.
But maybe how well are they taking care of their people? Like,
their instructors?
Yeah, no, I know they're getting paid well. I don't mean that, but I mean, I've had conversations with some instructors who would jump at the opportunity. It's no different than the fame conversation. Mm-hmm. But they legitimately are fucking great, and they would jump at the opportunity to do that. No discussion about business, not even acknowledging the opportunity in front of them. I know they're grateful, but they're not seeing it. So I don't look at that as a way to say, oh, they're stupid, they don't see it. I look at it as a way to say, oh, shit, we haven't communicated that properly yet. What can we do next? Because it's tough work, man. What we're doing in the gym, we can actually do here. And it's not like, oh, let's see. You said it on an episode, it's the execution. Mm-hmm. It's like, I would love to see this work in your studios. I would love to see that, because clearly there's something special happening there. And if you make the investment, some of us are just going through this place of, from a production standpoint, it's like, hey, you're not going to get paid what you think you're going to get paid. You know what I mean? You're going to put in a lot more hours because they don't get it. But if you have those resources and you can pull them together properly as an S corporation, need help with entity formation, wealthedge.com.
LegalZoom does it too.
Well, you want the personal touch. I'll hook you up with more.
Can I pay in Ethereum?
Maybe.
But some of it is, God, I just lost my train of thought. By taking care of your, to Andrew's point, and I don't know if this is where he was going, but if he wasn't, I'm just going to piggyback off it. I remember specifically, we had a vision for what we thought the Premier Access could be, and I had some ideas and he had some ideas, and maybe it was Mina because she was one of the most involved, but it was like, what do you want out of this? Like, we believe in taking care of like the employees. Like, we can present the opportunity. Like, we presented an opportunity to somebody today, and he was like, yeah, he was gung-ho about it. But he was very like unaware of the process. So who knows where he's going to go? He may latch on and go for the ride, or maybe be like, this is cool, I don't really get it. Well, it's fine, because not everyone's going to get it. But yeah, like Peloton may just want the bodies to make their business keep going. They just need another cog in the wheel. But if they took the time and were like, as an instructor, what do you want from us? And then if they listen, then that's their opportunity to build a better product based off some of the ideas of good instructors.
Yeah,
true.
Or they could be looking at it as, well, we're the fame makers.
Yeah, I just feel that's super limiting, because if they're just like,
I agree with you. I'm just saying that's my perspective.
We're just going to. He's right. They could easily be like, well, of course you want to be with Peloton because your class is going to be seen by 300,000 people every week, and someone was like, oh, but then a savvy instructor could be like, all right, well, if you're paying me per class, why can't you pay me per view? And then all of a sudden, the instructor is now in better control of their own business and their own brand, so to speak. So it depends on the people you're getting and the way you're communicating your product and the avenue in which these guys can now start to go down.
But I think the argument, though, is how do businesses today navigate through this? You have individual brands that, if you're a business owner and you're running a big organization and you're hearing this and you are reluctant, you are pushing against personal branding, right? If you were pushing against it, now you're like, wait, maybe I need to do it. That's why you invest in a company like mine. I'm not plugging, because we're certainly not, like, that's not at all what I'm doing for that.
Give us the URL.
No, but I'm saying, like, that's why you hire a company to do that, somebody that understands. And I think it's important to find somebody within the gym itself. We're talking fitness. There's a lot of freaking talented people inside the walls. We don't even know what they do. The guy who's coming to do Premier Access for us on Monday, I filmed him 2 years ago. We did an interview in the cage, just talking about fatherhood, because I knew when I filmed that, he didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was, again, new father. I think it might have been before I became a father, but I wanted to learn. I'm hungry. I'm working on a big project. I want him in it, but I know that if I put that out there, that will connect with somebody, not everybody, but it will connect with somebody, and that's what we're working with. And gyms will begin to invest in that more and more if it's approached properly. And someone like you gets to make that happen. Am I right? Like, you manage this place, right?
Yeah. No, it's give and take depending on who wants to listen to me for the day. Let's just put it that way. Who's in a good mood to listen to me today? That's all it is. That's where it falls at. And it's just your experience. Yeah, you're not an owner. That's a good part. You don't get to make a decision,
but whatever.
Yeah, you pay us, unfortunately. So that's all it is. But yeah, no, absolutely. It just feels like we're moving in a direction where the gym's ever evolving, right? Like, the one question is the gym actually dying, or is it the online, the small boutique fitness, the private stuff? is that going to be the way for the future at this point? I mean, even right now, the spring and summertime coming out, is outdoor boot camps going to be the next wave because COVID made it bigger and better? It made it the better excuse for last year, right? Because that was the bandwagon at this point. Everyone's going outside. Everyone started hiking. Like, I never climbed a mountain until last year, and all of a sudden I'm hiking, destroying my knees and stuff like that. Well, whatever. Is that where it's going? Like, is because of, and I do think that COVID did contribute to this whole evolution of fitness, because we all shut down. We all had no idea what else to do. And again, there's that better mousetrap for the individual trainer, right? Not even for the business anymore. Because that's a big problem we're having here, right? More people want to be out, don't want to be inside the gym because they're still scared of the whole mask. They don't want to wear the mask, or they're scared of COVID still being around. So that's our biggest problem. And yeah, that's my 2 cents right there. So I didn't know where else to go with that. But that's what I mean. I mean, is the big box gym gonna stay alive because of that stuff?
I mean, you're making it happen somehow. I know they're smaller studios, but like,
is there still a threat? Is the big box gym still a threat to the boutique studios? Because just on this street alone, 17, there's 5 gyms right here, 4 gyms right here right now, right? But there's the Orange Theory, which I opened with Will a couple of years ago, which did phenomenal. Like, we did phenomenal over there.
I go back to those 2 words I mentioned earlier: results and community.
Mm-hmm.
The big box gym, is it able to create right? And results at the end of the day, when you're on your own, it's human nature to fall off track, right? Class fitness, the way I see big box gyms evolving, you see it already. The amount of space that they're allocating to the individual classrooms is expanding, right? Mm-hmm. At the gym in Inglewood, they have the whole upstairs, right? There's a good amount of square feet allocated to that, just like in the supermarket industry. How much is grocery anymore? It's all fresh, right? It's changed in square foot allocation. So that's where I see big box gyms going. I think that it's not going to be some massive weight room floor anymore, unless you're really dedicated to that customer, right? Which I think is just shrinking as a percentage of the total population. So that's my view, John.
No, that's a good point of view, and I didn't even think about that. Just shrinking the resistance floor more so than anything else.
But the issue is, you have like your New York Sports Club, your 24-hour fitness, the financial trouble that everyone's faced. Where is that investment going to come from? Right? We've already borrowed money and issued bonds, and where do you get that from? Right? So it's kind of hard to reinvent yourself unless you've been backed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's in the new product. Like,
That's true.
Where does your backing come from? It depends. We're all right in terms of building community. It kind of depends on where you want to go as a business and as a brand. Are you interested in creating the community with either a product or a shift in vision and mission statement? Like the big box places, they're kind of always going to exist, I think, in some form. But I've said this from day one, like the thing that's going to bring people back is going to be whatever the services that you offer. And if you offer a lot of great one-on-one services, you're still creating community, even if it's not a community like a class environment where everyone's kind of doing the same thing, but it's more, hey, I go to this place and you go to this place, and they're so focused on us as individuals and what we're trying to do that we feel like we're experiencing the same thing, even though it's slightly different. It's fine.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I definitely just wanted to see how you guys felt about that, and I think community is a huge thing that we need to really focus on when it comes to the industry in itself. That's something that I think we're missing here specifically.
Well, I think we saw a little example of it yesterday, right? When we ran that combine. We had 9 kids in there. And they were having a great time. They were playing. They were in between all the drills and everything. They were talking to each other.
Yeah, being social.
Yeah, they were getting each other fired up, and they enjoyed it. And then when I started to present them with challenges at the end, because
They were
we had a
rooting each
few
other
extra
on, yeah.
minutes, just because, I have to be a jerk, otherwise I'm not doing my job. Then they were all like pulling for each other. And it became like, all right, let's everyone do this so Mike has nothing to say. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah. Finish this 2-minute plank and I'll shut up, no problem. And so that was, I think that's the beginning of it. That's one of the ways we start creating this community within these four walls.
But don't people have to start waking up? There's a lot of employees that they haven't really thought too much about the end for themselves, which is okay. And so they're doing their own thing outside. So what I think, one of our aims, and I'm very confident it's going to work, is getting those people back. And when they come back, there's transparency in the conversation. So right now our aim is really to build out personal training, and there's a certain set of spots, and there used to be a system that would be, if you want to be a personal trainer at the gym, you'd submit your resume, you'd go through management, the training manager, and then you go to his manager, and then you get to Jeff. Talking to Jeff this morning, talk to me about how you want to approach this, because we're sort of thinking it through. He's like, give him my number. Nice. That's the willingness. He's willing to take that step. And so as people start to come back into the gym, I'm invested in it. We're there. So it's going to work. But it's just getting them to understand, when you get that paycheck, look at that. Let's break that down. Let me explain to you how all of this works. Do you know what your insurance looks like? Do you know what your employee taxes are, employer taxes? These are things that are so... People don't want to talk about it, but when they look at it, no different than taking their shirt off when they're overweight, looking in the mirror. Oh my God, I thought I was making 70 grand. I just did this for my friend the other day. He's making 74 grand a year. So excited, but miserable. So I was like, let's work backwards. So we started going through this, told me about his days off. I was like, so you get this amount of money every 2 weeks? He's like, yeah, exactly. So at least now people don't ask those questions, but they can, and we have to equip them with negotiating skills and build them up, because as their business builds, because they're having ideas like this that are going to trickle down to the bottom fucking line. And if they don't get that at a certain point, I'll be happy to come in and explain it, because they will fucking get it, and it'll be too late, because maybe you're not here anymore. Maybe you're in that studio in Englewood. Oh, I'm kidding.
Oh, no. Don't do that to me.
He's got a lot to travel.
So. Well, no. I finally have a GM I can talk to.
Oh, hey, we're here.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a phone.
Yeah. Well, no, I have one that listens and acts on stuff that I recommend and talk about.
And we're building programs. That's all.
Yeah.
We are. It's cool. All right. Well, that was cool. That was a good topic. But I want to shift gears right now. Okay, something that happened earlier this week. I guess it was Monday, that I really wanted to focus on. I was going to start it off with, but I felt like we kind of got into the entrepreneurship pretty quick, and it was pretty good. It was really good, actually. I appreciate guys. One thing that I definitely wanted to mention on this, whether you guys were on it or not, it was going to be spoken about. The situation where the female cop in the news, by mistake, thought she was going to tase this young man, but instead shot him dead. Right? It was a young black man. Everyone says African American. I don't know if he was African or not, so I'll just call him black. Right? I'll be straightforward with that whole thing. There's in the recent weeks and months, actually the last year, right, with the coming of Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate and stuff like that. With all this still happening, right? I don't think this particular situation was a hate crime. I just listening to the video. I don't know if did you guys actually see the video? It was weird because it was her own body cam. She was holding the gun in her hand, but she says, we're going to tase him. But she has the gun in her hand. And I'm just like, well, I don't know. She's been on the force for was it 20 years or something like that? And she still shot him. I don't know if it was once or twice, whatever it may be. But I also saw the fact that he was resisting arrest, right? And he literally just got out of the cop's arms and jumped back in the car and tried to drive off. Now, and then I also heard that prior to all this, the reason why he was getting arrested, because there was a warrant for his arrest for, I think it was domestic abuse. even though he's only like 20 years old, something like that. I feel like this is one of those things. It's just another thing that's going to be brought up that, oh, he was shot because he was black. Oh, how come the white lady gets off? Blah, 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 and stuff like that. I was just wondering, how do you guys feel about that with the ever evolving, the controversy that keeps coming up? And Will, I want to start with you because you are a public figure for Englewood, from what I understand, right? And then you did share that I didn't share the letter with everyone, but you shared it with me. And with the whole stop the Asian hate, that hit hard with me specifically, and things like that have never really hit hard. I never thought about it, even though I do feel like I grew up going through racist stuff. I did. I openly admit that part. I just never spoke about it. I just let it go. I let it roll off my back. Oh, I'm Asian. I'm gonna get the jokes. I was just that guy. I dealt with it. And it's weird being in my 40s, hearing it, seeing it from a different point of view, and then looking back at my kids going, oh, crap. My kids, I know, Andrew, I know you don't know this, my kids are half black, half Filipino. They get the worst of both sides right now, right? So it's weird for me that I didn't want to speak upon it because I know that there's be a backlash to it, and there has. There has been, completely. It's affected them. It has. And it affects me even more. Then there's the issue with that black guy beat up the Filipino lady in the city on camera. I said this last time, I said it again. That could have been my mom. That could have been anyone's mom. But it was specific to an Asian situation where I literally said, that really could have been my mom. That could have been, and it's like, what are we doing about this? Now, again, Will, I wanted to start off with you because I think you have a little bit more influence, definitely more influence than we do. I have to say. I mean, I don't think I do. How you are addressing it in your position that you're in.
Yeah, it was tough to, all these things that happened, right? They started bubbling up to the public through social media, hashtag Asian hate.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the amount of stuff that was going on. I, sitting as a public official for my town in Englewood Cliffs, we went through a couple meetings. I was like, stuff had been happening already, and no one spoke up about it. So I said to myself, this is where I have a responsibility to make sure that I educate people on how much this topic means. So I wrote this letter to the mayor and council. I think my most important message was making sure that that message got carried over to the Board of Education, because I wanted a much larger audience, right? Other than people that just come to these political meetings and care about the fight between the D's and the R's. The letter got to the school, and they brought someone in to speak about the topic.
Okay.
I'm of Chinese descent. When I grow up, just asking, what are you? Right? What are you? Now, is that racism? I wasn't offended by it, but growing up, when people say, no, where are you from? Right? No, I'm born here, born in New York. Right? And I know most Asian Americans can kind of empathize with that. That's the part that really hit me. But racism is a general word. I mean, we in this country, we identify people by our own two eyes, right? We're like, hey, that guy is African American, that guy's Asian, whatever. But it's when you start throwing on the adjectives on top of that when it becomes racism, right, so to speak. The other topic I spoke about was just, I know among the Chinese American community in our country, it was the only time we excluded a specific race from immigrating back in the 1800s. So I felt it was very important to make sure that I spoke about it. I take my responsibility very seriously, and I'm glad I did. It is an issue in the community. And then I started realizing, oh my God, my cousin was speaking in front of a Bank of America audience, and all my cousins were doing various different things when they never spoke up at all through their whole lives about this stuff. They're perfectly happy growing up, and I didn't realize it was all bottled up. So I hope that was helpful, John.
How are you teaching your kids about this at this point? I mean, they're young, just same age as my kids, and Did they experience anything? Did they voice themselves? And you have a 12-year-old. Did he or she say anything about what's going on? And did you explain? How are you educating them?
Education system, generally is pretty liberal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're, no matter what type of, whether you're in the public school system or private school system, and the immediate reaction of the kids is, police brutality.
Right.
And
Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah, I tell my daughter, number one, I believe in law enforcement,
mm-hmm.
right? I think it's either that or you want to overthrow. Right. I believe in steps, right? As long as you're doing your best to get better, right? And I think we've put body cameras on police. There is accountability now, but I think also we have to take a hard look at our judicial system. It's all being tried more on a local level. So is this something that is more important that needs to be looked at the federal level, or is it just going to stay in Minnesota, right? So I think, I've been a party to business suits where, we had property just kind of, in our opinion, unfairly taken, right? We had a lease, we had an option to buy, and it went through the judicial system, and it was just taken away. So how do you look at that? Sometimes it's easy to do a knee-jerk reaction and say, "Oh, you're doing this because it's racism," right? But at the end of the day, like I said, you listen to your gut. You try to veer away from that. I'm always a positive thinker, so fitness has taught me that. Just look at it positively. It's going to steer you in another path, and you got better things ahead.
Yeah.
So that's how I've dealt with it, John. But unfortunately, some of those incidents, from George Floyd to Breonna Taylor to Ahmaud Arbery to Dante Wright, surely there's a problem, right? Like I said, I think part of it, we need to look at the judicial system.
Yeah, I like that it should go higher up than local judicial system. I do think I agree with that part. I think it definitely has to go further than that, because I think that has to have more ears and eyes than just favor. I guess the word favoritism is the one I'm looking for. But I do believe that it has to grow. It has to be heard by more people that are outside of the personal connection. I just kind of feel like if it's in that same town or in the same city, whatever it may be, it's taken differently. It's like anything else that when the situations happen in New York City, it's like, oh, it's typical New York City. I'm like, it still sucks. And I think that their point of view is that skewed because it's so personal.
Yeah.
It's too close to home type of thing.
I think there's always the chance that there's a web of conflicts of interest, right? So going back to entrepreneurship, one of my rules, I think, relative to my team members, I always say we want to avoid that. It's always easy to bring in someone into the business, but then the people that are around you feel that they're capped, right? Because so-and-so knows this person. So similarly, I would say with respect to that, you just don't know on the local level where those conflicts are, right?
Yeah,
Judges are appointed, right? So political appointees, and ultimately that's going down a dangerous path.
Yeah. What do you guys?
No, I mean, one of the things that I don't really know any of. I hear these stories; they come to me somehow, but I remove myself from those things. I like to choose where my attention goes, and so it's a sacrifice. I'm very alone with my thoughts many times, so I don't know. I respect what's happening and that it's real for people. Another rule: get your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. I think a lot of people are trying to solve bigger issues, very important issues worth solving, but they haven't made their bed in weeks. They haven't done laundry. They're kind of nasty to their girlfriend. They don't spend time with their kids. So trying to solve all these problems, and it's like, yeah, there's definitely problems. And if you want to turn on the news, if you want to go on social media, the problems will find you because fear works. So it's a very interesting time, and I like that you're asking questions on how do you talk to your kids about it, because my kids are little, but I still speak to them about very important things, and make them listen to lectures by Jordan Peterson. And so, not the actor, but so
the movie's
better. Although he is in a movie, so it's a documentary.
Dave talked about a story at the Palisades Mall with a Jewish family and what he did, and I think that was really awesome to listen to. So after I put my pants back on, I was like,
same way I told the story.
No, but I like that it took that, right? And now maybe an extreme thing like that, saying something like, took my pants off, is the thing that makes people realize, holy shit, he went up to kids that thought it was funny to make fun of Jewish kids. And he gave them an experience that they won't forget. And if we have better men, right? If we have better men and we create those, that's how we do it. I mean, it's so at the local level, I love that you did that. I genuinely didn't know what was really going on, and you could say whatever about that, but I think it matters that we have these conversations, but we're very careful as to, like one of the things I hate, and it's happened for years, when companies, I just got an MRI, and this company had a A-frame, like a printed billboard, and it had every possibility of ethnicity, everything. Oh. They're trying to speak to everyone, they're speaking to no one. So I am the person in a meeting when they say, oh no, we need to put this in there. No, I don't want to do it. Call my buddy up, I want to produce a song, MC Bravado. I said, I want to get Webby on a song, produce it, find the engineer. I don't mean to throw him under the bus, but he's in Baltimore. He goes, maybe I'll get an African-American producer. No. You can get the best producer you want, but I don't want to hear that. And I was like, I really don't care. Don't say it like that. That you're just as fucking guilty. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just like, I genuinely, I don't care what he is. Why are we playing this game? And I thought you were Hawaiian. So I just...
Whoa! This is completely done. Cut it off. Yeah, well, you're wrong. Okay? I'm Filipino.
I ran the gamut of feelings and trying to see points of view when the statement was released about, I thought it was my taser. I was like, that's some fucking bullshit. I'm like, you are insulting the entire public, thinking we should accept this. Because I'm thinking, I know police officers in town, and I spoke to one specifically, and she's like, well, at least here in Montvale, we have our firearm on one hip and our tasers are on the other. Now, granted, the tasers also are shaped like guns, but I guarantee you the weight's different.
The weight is different.
The material is different. 20 years on the force, you should know the difference.
Right.
So I was like, that's the horse shit. However, if we look at the climate of how often this stuff happens, we don't know what this woman was thinking. She may have knowingly drawn her weapon, and the taser thing is just the best thing they could come up with. Fine. But we don't know, in that split second, she could easily be thinking about all the riots and everything else. And she could have terrified herself into that position. Because we also do, to Will's point, there needs to be an overhaul of a lot of different things. I don't really know where that starts. But for everyone to just come down on the police officer, it doesn't justify what happened. It doesn't justify the fact that someone was killed over probably something that shouldn't have gone that way. But there's a lot of things that need to change to bring a lot of the heightened awareness down, because the minute something happens, everyone escalates, body cams are on, everyone's trying to point fingers immediately. And to your point about some of the things, like he had whatever he was charged with, where he had a warrant out for his arrest, people may hate to hear this, but I hate when that stuff gets just swept under the rug. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't justify what happened to them. It doesn't mean that they should be taken out back and put in front of a firing squad. But that stuff does matter. Mm-hmm. That they want to get mad at this person was unfortunately this person lost their life. But if someone's just shot, okay, but what did that person do? Are we going to just let that go? And I'm not saying that makes it right, but there needs to be a lot more than just people pointing fingers and crying for justice immediately. We really need to take a look at the entire situation, soup to nuts. Why is any of this happening? Maybe this officer knew exactly who this guy was, and knew his record and everything else, and was like, he's dangerous. I'm going to do this. We don't know. We don't know any of that.
I totally agree that you definitely have to see the entire picture. That's why media just gives us snippets of these things to chorus our point of view.
It's like what network can outrage the public the fastest?
Right.
Do you guys remember Rodney King?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys ever see the full video of that?
I don't remember if I saw the full. I saw a lot of the video.
Yeah, but long story short,
truck, right.
he started to come towards the officers. The officers maced him. Has anyone in this room been maced?
No, I try to actively avoid that.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like,
Wait, you've been maced?
I've not been maced. I
look
was
like someone who might have.
I mean, I thought it was Brett spray.
Whose Banaka's getting strong?
Yeah, wow, it's cayenne flavored. But
That's fucking awesome.
I was a friend of mine sprayed some mace, and I was in the area. I was 15 feet from it, and I started coughing uncontrollably. I mean, that's how bad it is. I didn't get maced directly, and I was still feeling the effects. Rodney King, after he got maced, wiped his eyes and kept coming forward. They then tased him 3 times, and he kept coming forward. And do you guys know how a taser works? It's like a mini grappling hook. He tore the tasers out of his own skin and kept coming forward. And then the police finally got him down and beat him with nightsticks till, whatever. And I was asking my dad about it because my dad was a Peterson police officer. And I said, is that how you would have handled the situation? He says, no. After he pulled the tasers out, I would have pulled out my gun and put 2 rounds center mass and put him down. He goes, because there's just something there that you can't control. People don't realize, like the average person doesn't realize how bad these things are. And, this guy just walked through it. So this situation is so far beyond what any normal person can understand. But yet those are the ones who are casting the judgment on the situation. Yeah. And they didn't see the whole thing. They just saw the part with the cops holding him down and hitting him with nightsticks. So, again, going back to everyone's point, you have to know the whole situation. And even on top of that, like, when you think about the way some of these police officers, the situations they go into, one wrong move, they're dead.
Right.
And they're playing a game where they have to play by the rules, and by definition, the people they're playing against don't. That's another big issue I think a lot of people don't look at. So, it's easy to say police brutality. There's no such thing as criminal brutality.
Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah, if a quote-unquote bad guy just beats up a cop, well, that just gets added to his sentence, which is already 15 years. Okay, well, now he's going to be in there for 16 and a half. Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's, I think, part of the situation. People just look at the overall situation, and they don't realize the gravity of it. Literally, I mean, we're talking about people's lives. Yeah.
That's the scary part, is that we never get the full picture, right?
Yeah.
We sit there, we just judge based on what we have.
And we think it's routine.
Right.
He's a cop, he's used to dealing with that. No, he's not. No, he's a cop in Waldwick isn't used to that,
And these days, we're so jaded by the news. Like,
100%.
You flip on, you watch Fox, you watch CNN, then you got to make your own facts out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's challenging sometimes. And to Mike's point, I think we do need experts looking at this stuff, right? It's not just a judge, right? People, normally police stuff, as you know from your family, it's internal affairs that's handling it, right? So you need people that are on the inside, but I think you need some federal oversight. Now, I know some people are more supportive of local government, but I just think there needs to be some centralization of looking at these cases.
Yeah. Again, I'll quote this again. Is from Denzel Washington. If you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. So what's the best way to do this, right? It seems as if that the media today is pressed to get there first, right? To be out there first.
To get viewership.
Yeah, to get the numbers, because what we say, likes are currency now, right? So it's the only way to get recognized for your work. which is not really your word. It's just like whoever gets there first, right, type of thing, or whoever puts it out first. You know, I think there's got to be something behind that. I think there has to be more rules to that. I think there has to be a better. You can't just put something out there because you feel like put something out. But again, the internet's free, right? We can do whatever we want. We're on this podcast. No one's told us not to say anything. We're saying whatever the hell we want. And who knows where it's going to get, right? And that's the sad part about the you know, in this day and age that, I mean, censorship is the key word. You know, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how to get around it. I just feel like it's gotten scarier for me as I've gotten older, and being in my 40s now and having children that are going through it and have been on have experience on both sides of it now. Like I said before, you know, you guys weren't here, but you know, if my kids did, I'll use my sons for example again. I always use them as an example. If my two sons did something wrong, they were seen as the black kids. If they do something right, they're seen as the Asian kids, right? They're never. It's never just like, hey, they're just good kids, or hey, they're just bad. It's because of their race. That's what it was, and now it's more prominent for my boys because they look more Asian. That now the whole Asian thing is even harder for them because they people are talking, and it's weird because you could hear people talk. You could hear them in town. It's kind of weird. Like you're like, wow, they're really talking about us, right? You know, the whole blaming, you know, China for COVID. Like, I don't know who to blame, but it's still there. I got it. You know, it sucked. And that's just where I'm going with it. I'm just scared. I don't know what to do. You know, I want to protect my kids, but I don't want to cover them from anything. I need them to understand it and how to navigate and or protect themselves. You know, is it to punch first, strike hard, strike first, whatever, you know, Cobra Kai says. You know, I don't know. Now, man. Yeah, I don't know.
As long as it ends with sweeping the leg, they're fine.
But that didn't work. So yeah, you know, it's one of those things where I just it's still mind blowing to me how I don't even know what to do. I don't know how to say, you know, what to do for my kids or other kids. I don't know. It's just scary because, you know, half the time you want to protect your own kids. Someone were to hit my kids, I'm going to hit them back, but can't do that.
John, would you say it's more of your fear or the kids have expressed the fear to you and you're reacting to it? Or is it something that it's in your own mind at the moment? Which way is it?
I think so. A big thing is that in the moment, right? At the moment, again, I'm questioning a lot of things in myself, right? Did I teach my kids the right way? Did I grow up weird, right? Because I felt it and I kind of dealt with it differently. I was, you know, no one knew what Filipinos were when I was growing up. They're just like, "What are you, Chinese or not?" You know, that's what I got. Are you Hawaiian? Huh? Or are you Samoan?
So
that's what I was.
Did that come off like a certain way?
No, it's just an ongoing joke.
But it might. If there were 20 people or 1,000 people, it might, and then people can attack that.
Good job,
right?
Yeah, no, but it's true.
That's the risk.
Yeah, that's it. But again, I grew up that way. You know, I grew up being the Asian kid amongst black kids, listening to Biggie and Tupac. You know, I wasn't supposed to.
Rest in peace.
Both, right? More so Tupac than Biggie. No one cares about Biggie.
Oh, man.
I'm right. But I because in the moment I remember what it's like for me, and again, being a parent, you see your kids very differently, right? I miss my kids being babies. I miss when they were like 2 years old. I could pick them up and they're because you know it. They grow up real quick, right? And you still want to protect them. And I want to protect my kids. I feel bad when they cry. You know, I still got to pop them because they're not listening correctly. But it's just one of those things where I want to know if I don't know how to just to educate them. Like I could educate. I could tell them every story under the sun. I could give them every article. I could throw them at any martial arts school to protect themselves, right? How they execute is very different, right? How they handle it is very different, and that's obviously from a parenting standpoint, right? takes a village to raise a child, you know. But the environment we're in at this very moment, it's scary. It is scary because again, just like that Filipino lady in the city, anyone could they just went up and just beat her up, right? It was on camera. The guy closed the door, said, "I'm not part of this. I don't know what that guy's been on." Right? Cool. I get that part. My kid could be walking down the street and some other kid just comes flying up behind him and knocks him on his head while he's riding his bike. Was it like, why wasn't I there? That's the type of thing that goes through my head. That's what it is. Why wasn't I there? Or, well, what do I do about this? How do we fix this part? How do we bring this? How do we alleviate this part? It's just one of those questions, you know, that just want to know how we can do something about that. And yeah, it is fear.
Love. I think we lead with love. We show people the flaws in their thinking. You know, the risk. You know, we've all done things that I think we maybe regret, or not. I shouldn't say regret, but we've all probably done things that we've learned from, and we realize, oh, I'm never going to do that again. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, speaking to the older generations, which I respect because there's a lot to learn, I see the disconnect older generations have with younger generations, and because they think so much differently. But it's like, if you just listen, you know, you just have to listen. That's it. It's, you know, my father said something last night about, he's talking to my brother, he's like, you know, this person, family member, looks like MS-13, and it bothered my brother. So when he called me, he's like, you know, I can't believe you said my dad's in his 70s. But he was just making a comment, because this person has tattoos, he's in the family, he's got tattoos on him, he's been away for a little while. And I texted him this morning, it's like, John, you know, don't be mad at him. You know, he doesn't understand, because I looked up, I don't look at TV, but I saw it was on in the gym, and I saw MS-13. This is why my dad said that. It's like, he doesn't understand how these ideas are getting to him. Just enjoy him while he's here. We don't have our mom currently physically, so enjoy him while he's here. And that's what it is. It's like, we don't have to attack the thinking. I think we do what Dave did. Tell them, do you think that's funny? Give them something, because one day those kids you went up to in the mall may do the same, and then they may do the same, and that's how the community becomes. And love, it's all love. It has to lead with love, because I didn't even know any of this shit was going on. Didn't even know. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. That's awesome that you took it to the level you did. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just advocating and getting the message out, and you know, whatever microphones we have, right? We need to use them. And John, in my case, who started with my town people, and then to the Board of Education, and then getting into some newspapers as well.
Yeah. It's definitely a hard subject to trying to. We can't pinpoint anything, right? I'm not looking for the right answer every week, but I'm looking for a better solution. You know, that's all it is. One of your points is like, yeah, we lead with love. But it's weird. I don't know why my mind works this way, but I'll flip it and be like, yeah, but when you're in the moment, it sucks, because, like, I just think about it. Love had nothing to do with this other kid just hurting my kid. And it didn't even happen, right? I don't know why I'm feeling this way all of a sudden. It literally didn't happen, but I'm angry about that. Like, oh, shoot, this kid just hit mine. He's on the floor. His head smacked around. He's bleeding. Literally didn't happen. I'm still feeling this weird way about it, right? So it's like, love had nothing to do with it. Like, all right, that kid's parents didn't love him. Well, do I go after the parent? Hey, you didn't love your kid. Yeah, so you hurt my kid, right? But you do, but then you hurt that other parent, right? I will hurt that other parent. Is that justified?
Well, that parent probably isn't coming into the gym, and that's why those things are happening. You understand? It all circles back. Think about in the very beginning.
But is it still right for me to do that?
What, to attack him?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not physically.
Well, that's what I meant, though, because
you can attack them emotionally.
If their kids, that's only I could verbally destroy you in any type of way. You get verbal tongue lashing, right? Or that way, right? But in the moment, as an irate parent, I'm thinking I'm just going to go after them, right? But do I have that right? Again, no one knows the backstory behind it. That I grew up abused. Let's make up everything possible, right?
It's kind of like Vinny said, you never know what anyone else is going through.
Right.
At any point in time.
So, again, is what are the consequences to those things? Oh, it's okay. He was mentally unstable. So that's a good reason to just let them go. It's okay. He was fine. The kid, he was off his meds, right? Is it okay for him to hit my kid? No, right? So then I go after the parent again because his parents decide to take him off his meds. That's just where I'm.
Well, let's travel into your child's mind, and think about his experience. If you do that's the beauty of time travel, man. It's because it's real. It's like we can do that. You just did it. You just created a scenario that was so fucking real,
right?
That you can't even argue how real it was. It felt real for me listening to you. So it's like we can actually travel and think about decisions that we make, and what can we do today that can help us prevent those situations tomorrow. And it's raising awareness. It's doing plugs that sound insignificant and non-important. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's bringing up, books like The Boy Crisis, written by Dr. Warren Farrell and John Gray, PhD. Amazing book because it actually addresses what's really happening with our boys. And I recommend the book. It's really unbelievable. Audiobook, hard copy, whatever.
That was a great plug.
But yeah, I love him, and I'll be interviewing him soon. So
that was good. That was good. I appreciate that. But yeah, that was great, guys. And unfortunately, where are we at?
2:17.
2:17. We're about at the right mark here. 2.5 hours.
Is the average?
No, we're close. 30 minutes. We're short by a little bit, but we also got a short start. Clifford over there is falling asleep. He usually goes to sleep by 30 minutes ago. So he's still got a ways to go. But guys, I truly appreciate today's talk. I learned a lot. That was great, man. I think this is going to be one of our better ones. I would love to have you guys back on with other things that we have evolving. Like I said, one big thing for me today is I realized, and I've always realized this, but it came back to fruition. Sorry. Fruitation.
That's how you make fruit roll-ups. The fruitation machine.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Fruition. Business to business developing type of things. I do feel that that's one of my stronger points. I love connecting people with other people. And I'm also just a pretty good gym manager, apparently. That's all I'm good at. But we do have some other guests that I think that you guys would be good to connect with also coming up. It's pretty strong in the industry and just developing business. Like next week's going to be a pretty good one. So you might want to come through again. But as of now, Will, what do you have going on? Tell people, anything you want to plug, shout out there, and share with the world.
Just continue to make people healthy through fitness, food. Working on a couple of food concepts with COVID. Everyone wants quick service, so they want to grab their stuff, get out of there, order it online, hop in for 1 minute. And the other thing I've been working on is when it comes, you mentioned earlier, how come guys lose it, right? So I'm working on a medical spa concept at the moment as well.
Ooh, fancy.
I think that's, it's just something. It has a stigma attached to it because it used to be, most people associate with plastic surgery, but people don't realize there's this whole segment that comes before plastic surgery.
Oh, yeah.
It's non-invasive.
Right.
It's something so easily as freezing the fat off your body. To a bodybuilder, you're like, why do you need that? That's cheating, right? But in reality, it works magically, and you build people's confidence back up, right? That's the name of the game. Get them ready, for their next entrepreneurial project.
Cool. And if anyone in the Toto area wants to check out Orange Theory, where is it? What street is it on? What's
Union Boulevard, 650 Union Boulevard, right next to Cafe Neo and Nicola's.
That's a really good cafe. I hung out there. They have great crepes. Creeps.
There's probably some great creeps here too.
Some creeps. I am so not educated. So big. Andrew, what you got going on? What do you have to, that we can contact you for anything else?
Don't contact me. Contact Dave. I am busy. I'm waiting on the birth of my baby girl.
Well, that was great. Thanks.
But in terms of business, we're working on a new product, helping people really plan. So it's succession planning. It's thinking about really tough shit. Do you have life insurance? Do you even have a will? Things like that. Hard hard conversations. We're building a new product that's going to really change the approach for people. So I'm excited about that. And again, you can reach out to Dave because I will always be. No. But that's through Wealth Edge. So wealthedge.com. Check them out. Just stay tuned for that. That is going to be I'll plug that.
Awesome, nice. Hey guys, everyone else who has any questions or actually ideas as to what they want to hear us talk about, please email us at 40andfitness@gmail.com. That's 40andfitness. Spell the whole thing out.
Direct it to Dave.
And direct it to Dave too, but he won't get it. I'll get it. And therefore we're good for the night, right?
Yeah.
All right, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.